problem with the uninsured, and that's what the bill's supposed to do. Let me get this gentleman. You did a good pass, by the way.
Congressman, thank you. I appreciate it. We've talked on the phone a couple of times. I've asked you to look into some things. I've written you letters, and
you mind giving your name? I can't see your name tag from here.
okay. Jim Serwan.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
We've had some good conversations.
The good thing about name tags, there are times I get emails and phone calls, and I talk to folks, and I don't finally get to see them in town hall.
Well, some things that you were going to get back to me on had to do with the stimulus package, okay? Two issues in particular, okay? One is less than 8% has been spent. Bernanke says now that the economy is on the recovery. Do we put the other back? We put the rest back. One more thing in dealing with the stimulus, too, is that I asked you about what was in it. If you had read it, you said you had agreed and admitted you did not read it.
No, I read the bill. Our committee had jurisdiction over the health care, the telecom, and the energy section.
You still went to vote. But the point is that I asked you to look into an issue. One item on there, and it was for $15 million going to Nancy Pelosi in San Francisco to save a marshmallows. Now, by my calculations, that would provide health care premium coverage for everybody in this room, their children, their children's children, and we're worried about a mouse. And you've never gotten back to me on that.
Okay. Well, one of the reasons the bill didn't.
Just a little bit. Just bear with me.
Like I said, I hope I remember the first question you get to the last.
I'm here to remind you. I can
Okay.
promise you that. As far as everything that's being covered and discussed in the health care bill, you've covered putting caps. The PAYSAR is going to put caps on what doctors can make, fees they can charge, what CEOs can make at the hospitals, and also with the insurance companies. I don't see anything in here that says that the trial lawyers don't, that they're going to cut back on them from that 40 and 30% that they get on their award fees and jury awards. Okay, so I've got a little problem with that, and that is one of the things that drives up all the pharmaceutical costs, all the healthcare costs, and every single hospital cost, and every single malpractice. Doc, I don't know what it's like up there in Canada, okay? But it drives that cost nuts. Now, we've taken care of tort reform here in the state of Texas. And because of that, there are doctors coming back into this state to practice. The government needs to get out of business.
Let me talk to you about the marshmallows.
Constituent, I live in your district, and I approve that message.
I hope you would be here with your constituent.
And I'll see you in November.
Okay, my contract's renewed every 2 years, and it has been for years, so that's the way it is. But as far as the marshmallows, there was no earmarks in the stimulus bill. Now the speaker may have gotten a request through a federal agency, because let me tell you, that money went to certain agencies. And I know one that we just found out 2 weeks ago. We gave money, part of that money was to go to the National Endowment of Art to stimulate arts and to have folks,
That's the one that's showing porn, correct?
Well, it found out that the NEA, the National Endowment for the Arts, made this grant to some place in San Francisco, or at least San Francisco that is. And so, let me tell you, when Congress goes back into session, the National Endowment of Arts will have to answer for it, and that will have to be rescinded. We thought in the 90s we got their attention, because they were doing crazy things back then.
Where's the exclusion in the health care bill to prevent abortions? Because it's not in there.
Okay.
It's going to be covered. You and I both know that it's going to be
No,
covered.
it's not.
Yes, it is going to be covered, because unless it is specifically eliminated,
It
it's
is
going
now.
to be covered.
The bill that I have here, it was amended in our committee. One of those amendments said that no public funding can be used for elective abortions. And that was an amendment we adopted that Thursday, the Thursday before Congress left. And I apologize, the amendments are not up on the web. They haven't consolidated them. We haven't had a committee print of the bill.
We're dealing with the record to tell me there will not be any money in there for abortion.
There will not be any federal tax dollars, because I don't think your tax dollars ought to go to support elective abortions.
Elected.
There are reasons in emergency for whatever reason.
You can call anything elected.
Well, the other thing is that, I don't know, we'll let a doctor make that decision.
Well, I appreciate
let me go back,
I appreciate
okay, what was your last question? I told you I forget.
The last one just had to do with why is the government thinking that all of a sudden it has the brain power? After bankrupting Amtrak, Medicare, post office, Social Security, and now all of a sudden they've learned their lesson and they know what to do. You need to come forward and say, hey, we need to take the rest of this $870 billion and put it back.
Well,
Nobody's doing that. And my point being is that there's 1,100 pages that honestly, if it's a good bill and it's really written well in terms of taking care of health, Forrest Gump looks like he wrote that. And this little book right here, that thing's too heavy to carry. This one I'll never be weak enough to not be able to pick up.
okay. Well,
Okay?
let me talk about this. Well, I have a copy and I read it. I took constitutional law and you know, we'll let the Constitution, under our Constitution, if you read the whole Constitution, the Supreme Court makes a decision on what's constitutional. Constitution is broad enough, and you know, the current Supreme Court makes that decision literally every day. You and I can have an opinion on it.
Where's health care in there?
Oh, I have. It's not in there.
That's right.
That's what I thought.
But neither is the other
Social
thing.
Security.
But let me answer you about Social Security, Amtrak, and everything else. If you look back in history, and we benefit so little from Amtrak, but the passenger service in parts of the country was going bankrupt. It was so important that the federal government created this federal agency, Amtrak. And granted, we don't benefit from it. We get maybe 2 trains a week. And if you want to take the train to New Orleans, you know, frankly, you could almost walk faster. But, so I'm not a big supporter. But Social Security was never created
What was
as
the
a
price of
public...
gas and drive there to take
Okay,
the train?
Social Security was never created actuarially sound. Started paying benefits in 1935. Medicare was created with a funding base, but not enough to keep it going. Those are not private sector initiatives, because the reason we have Medicare is because the private sector couldn't cover seniors under health care and make $1. And I've benefited from free enterprise most of my life. So let me get a couple other questions. Yes, ma'am.